Okay, here are some cool, quick tips for using Ableton's sampler, which is pretty cool because it has this functionality that it can have many samples in it, which is commonly referred to as multi-sampling. So let's drag in a bunch of different samples, just random ones. It doesn't matter which ones. And for now, you can see that in this tab, you can specify which keys will activate which sample will play. And I have here a MIDI clip, it just says F3 repeated in 16 notes, I believe, yes. And what will happen now is that every 16 note, every single one of these will play at the same time. Let's hear how it sounds. That's how it sounds. It might be loud, sorry about that, but if we solo out the individual samples, we can hear that they are all playing at the same time. Like so. And maybe that's annoying, I don't know, maybe that's what you wanted, to have 4 different hi-hat samples combined to create one noisy chaos. I do that often, it's great, it's a great tip if you're into that kind of thing. Anyway, so what you want to do might be to specify individual keys, or like specified zones that they have to themselves, so they don't have to share any keys with each other, and thereby you will avoid having many samples playing at the same time. So now let's see. Now it's only playing F here, but if I use my computer keyboard to play, you can see that I jump between octaves and I trigger different samples depending on what key I press on the keyboard. And this is pretty handy, but might be annoying also, that as you might hear, it's pitch tracking. It's pitching the sample down according to the MIDI note that it receives input from, in this case C1, which is pretty low. And that's why sampler thinks, oh, I gotta pitch this sample down, way down to fit is C1. But if, let's say, you just want to completely enable or completely disable the pitch tracking, you could do so down here in the tab that says scale. Maybe it should be just called key tracking or something instead. That would be more informative, at least down here, because scale might refer to different things. Anyway, you zero that out, and now it doesn't pitch track anymore. So you can have it in a specified pitch range, and also use the keys instead of pitching the different samples. You can just use it to select different samples, and thereby creating like multi-sample patterns with MIDI in one sample instrument, which is pretty cool, I think. So you have everything gathered in one track, and yeah, that's pretty cool. But I don't know, however, if you get individual tracks for each where you can set the volume. Let's see. Well, there's a master volume for the whole sample instrument, but is there one for the individual samples? No, I don't think so. Okay. It would be cool if it had individual volumes, like when you have a drum rack and you can fold or expand several subtracks within that drum rack thing. Let me show you what I mean. So I have a drum rack and I put in a lot of samples into the drum rack. And oh yeah, okay. Oops. Oops. Well, you get this button, and this is what I want on the sampler. That would be great to have this button over here. We can expand that, and you have all the individual samples in here. But I guess that's what the drum rack was made for in the first place. But yeah, it's a different approach. Anyway, continuing onwards. So you can use this key tracking, which is pretty cool. And another thing I found out that you can use instead of key tracking is tracking velocity, which means that now instead of listening to the key, F3 in this case, it will listen for the velocity tracks and play the sample select you choose according to a certain velocity. So and it's like this, clicking this and doing something in here won't disable that, so you'll have both of those at the same time. So you might want to reset this if you don't want the effects of different keys in here. But what you can do then is, if you want velocity to say that low velocity between 1 and 23 should be this sample, and if the velocity of the note, no matter what key it is between this range and this range, and finally this range, you can control which sample is selected through a MIDI track with the velocities here. So let's see if yeah, I guess this is also a thing that's a bit annoying right now. So let's just try and do like this instead. I'll just undo what I did here and have this one select all of these, and wait a minute, how did I do before? Maybe you have to yeah, that doesn't work. Is it because, oh wait, that's why I need to set the velocities, of course. So random velocities, all sorts of different high ones, low ones, get a bit of everything in there, and see what happens now. Yes, it works. You see, this is pretty cool. I think that you can use velocity to select samples, especially if you have a MIDI controller of some sort that has aftertouch, or is just like velocity sensitive, something as simple as a velocity sensitive MIDI keyboard, one of those shitty ones. Anyway, okay, so I guess the effect in here is actually that this will overrule this. So as long as you have a velocity range set here that tells the sampler to play this sample, even though that the other samples overlap with their keys down here, the velocity will overrule the 3 other samples competing for this area of the key. I think that's what it sounds like, at least. Let's see. Yeah. So yeah, we hear the effect here that when the blue marker up here that jumps around, which signifies the input velocity, when it gets down to this region, it doesn't play the other ones. It only plays the one assigned to the velocity region. Alright, so I guess that's it. It's a pretty cool trick, and to build further on this and persuade you to maybe explore this cool sampling instrument a little bit more, check out this selector tab, because this is basically a selector like you saw in the velocity one, where you can control this with MIDI or a macro, I think. So if you, okay, this is a cool feature. I didn't know this. Okay, anyway, you can MIDI map it. I wonder if you can put it into a macro as well. That would be pretty cool. So let's say map selector to this macro. Oh yes, damn. Okay, that's pretty cool. So now you have a macro controlling your sample selector, and to gain the same effect as before, you could do like that, and do like that, and that, and that, and now you have control of which sample plays when. But as you hear right now, this velocity thing is also having an influence on it, because it says unless you hit the right velocity zone of this sample right here, even though the selector is in the range that is that corresponds to that sample, like so. The selector thingy thinks, or it wants to play this sample right now, but the velocity thing is preventing it because it is outside the range of the velocity thingy. Let's say if it was 16, yeah, let's say it's 16. If it was placed, okay, right around here, you think, let's play this sample now because I decided that with this thing here. And if you go to the velocity tab, you can see, oh, it's outside of the velocity range, so you would have to drag this one over to cover 16 in order to make it play at this point as well. Alright, so a bit long video, sorry about that, but I hope it was worth your time. I think this is a cool instrument in Ableton, one among, I think I have 3 favorites right now. Operator will forever be one of my favorites. Wavetable's pretty cool. And Sampler. I think those 3 are the ones that I would probably, if I had to delete the rest of them, and I could just keep operator, sampler, and wavetable, I would be more than satisfied. So yeah, have a nice day, and bye bye.